We all hear about bullying in schools, right? It's a topic that comes up a lot. But for so many students in Romania, it's not just a topic. It's a painful daily reality. And it's a problem that's growing and changing with technology, moving right out of the schoolyard and into our homes. So today, we're going to break this whole thing down, using the fantastic expert guide, Bullying and Cyberbullying, together for a safe school environment. Okay, let's get into it. So to get a sense of just how urgent this is, let's start with a single number, 3. According to a World Health Organization report, Romania ranks third in Europe for the prevalence of bullying in schools. I mean, that's not a number we can just shrug off. It tells us we have to understand this problem, and we have to act, like right now. So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to nail down what bullying actually is. Then we'll track how it's evolved from the playground to the screen. After that, we'll dig into the hidden emotional impact it leaves behind. Then we'll get into real solutions for everyone involved. And we'll wrap up by talking about the conversation that all of us need to be having. All right, part 1. What exactly is bullying? Because before we can even think about fixing it, we all need to be on the same page. And trust me, it's so much more than just kids being mean.
Okay, this definition is key because it gives us the 3 core ingredients. First, it's intentional. Someone is actively trying to cause harm. Second, it's repeated. We're not talking about a one-off argument. And third, and this is crucial, there's a power imbalance. The victim feels like they can't make it stop. Those 3 things together, that's what makes it bullying, not just a simple conflict.
And this visual, it lays it all out perfectly. You can see those key ingredients right there in the middle: power, intention, repetition. And from there, it branches out into all the different nasty forms it can take. Physical stuff, verbal attacks, or even social exclusion. It's a whole pattern of behavior. So this stuff can show up in a few different ways. You've got the physical kind, which is the most obvious: hitting, shoving things. Then there's verbal bullying, which is all about using words as weapons. Think of awful nicknames, insults, that kind of thing. And then you have social bullying, which is way more sneaky but just as painful, like deliberately leaving someone out or spreading rumors to ruin their reputation. Which brings us to our next section, because the whole game has changed. Harassment isn't just happening between the school bells anymore. Thanks to technology, the playground is now in every kid's pocket, on every screen they own. And check out this comparison. It is pretty stark. Traditional bullying was face-to-face, maybe in front of a few other kids. But cyberbullying, it can be anonymous, it can reach a massive audience in seconds, and it lives online forever. But look at the time and space thing. Bullying used to stop when you got home. Now it can be a 24/7 nightmare, following kids right into their own bedrooms, the one place they're supposed to feel safe. So yeah, cyberbullying is basically harassment using any digital device. It's happening on social media, in private messages, even inside online video games. And what makes it so tough is that the bully can be anonymous and relentless, which makes it super hard for a victim to escape. And frankly, it makes it really difficult for parents and teachers to even know what's going on. Okay, let's talk about the hidden impact, because the wounds from bullying aren't always the kind you can see. The emotional and psychological damage can be absolutely massive, and it's on us, the adults, to learn how to spot the signs. And this is the question, isn't it? For every single parent, every educator out there, how would we actually recognize a victim? Because so often kids are just too scared or too ashamed to say anything. They just suffer in silence. Think of this slide as your practical checklist. You gotta look for these warning signs. Are their clothes or belongings suddenly getting ruined? Do they have bruises they can't explain? Are they suddenly fighting you on going to school every morning? Have their grades taken a nosedive? Or are they pulling away from their friends? Or have you noticed big changes in their eating or sleeping patterns? A sudden drop in self-esteem? These are all major red flags. And look, we have to take this stuff seriously, because the effects can be absolutely devastating. This isn't just about a kid feeling sad for a day. We are talking about crippling anxiety, deep depression, and in the most heartbreaking cases, even suicidal thoughts. The stakes could not be higher. Okay, we've defined the problem, we've looked at the impact. Now for the most important part: what on earth do we do about it? And this isn't a one-person job. It takes a joint action plan with schools, parents, and the whole community working together. So at the school level, you need a solid game plan. That means setting up an anti-bullying committee to spearhead everything. Having more adult supervision in those high-risk spots like hallways and playgrounds, putting crystal clear policies in place so everyone knows the consequences, and making sure the school counselor is a key player in all of it. And for parents, your role is absolutely huge. The guide recommends 4 key things. 1. Keep the lines of communication wide open. 2. Teach your kid how to respond assertively, not aggressively, but assertively. 3, and this is so important, encourage them to always report what's happening to a trusted adult. And maybe most of all, just keep building up their confidence and self-esteem. That's their best armor.
And here's something that is so easy to forget. This isn't just about helping the victim. To really, truly break the cycle, the aggressor needs help too. Both of these kids need support from every angle, psychological, from the school, and from their families. A lot of the time, a bully is a kid who's also hurting pretty badly.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the necessary conversation. Because stopping bullying isn't just about rules and programs. It's about a massive shift in our culture and finally stepping up to our collective responsibility.
I want to end with this really powerful quote from the guide. It says, "Stopping cyberbullying is not just about unmasking the harassers, but also about recognizing that we all deserve respect, both online and in real life." And that just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The real solution is all about empathy. It's about building a culture where we all treat each other with basic respect. So as we wrap this up, I'm just going to leave you with this one question to think about. After all of this, after seeing the stats, understanding the impact, and looking at the solutions, what conversation will you start today? With your kids, with your students, with your friends? Because that conversation, that's where the change really begins.